Felicity from GetYourRockOut here talking to the legendary John Waite. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Just another day in Santa Monica, just doing interviews for the new record, and wondering what to do with myself. You know, I some downtime here, and we don't have a gig for another week. So you'd be surprised how slow things can get when you're not on the road, but it's great to take some time off.
Have you got that kind of, I really want to be out on tour and playing gigs feeling? Are you getting itchy feet?
Yeah, I do. The band is so good at the moment that I miss that kind of, it's pretty fresh. It's all become fresh again with the live album and having a new guitar player, Kerry Kelly. The band is playing really well. The last gig we played, we headlined a big open air thing for like 4,000 people, and the band just stepped up. And
wow.
we were playing well to begin with, but on a big stage, the band sort of like went into high gear, and I'd forgotten how great it was to be playing at absolute maximum volume with really great players, and I'm singing well. It was just great. And last year, but one, we went back into the clubs to play, to support Rough and Tumble. And we played everywhere in America we could. And we even came over to Britain and Europe as a whole and did a European tour. But we were playing smaller venues so we could get into every town we went to, go to radio, and then do morning TV, Fox TV as a news program all across America regionally. And we would go and play on the TV straight out of bed, you know, and then do radio the other way around. But we managed to get a #1 single out of it with Rough and Tumble, a classic rock, which was, it was part luck, part hard work, and a great promotion girl that made sure that we got the airplay. But it was the last thing I expected. It was not the track I thought would be #1. It's a hard rock song, very Spartan, very stripped down, kind of rugged, and we got to #1. So from that point on, nothing really surprises me. But playing on that big stage, the last gig we did, it was like, wow, you know, if I could just keep the band playing on big stages. So I've kind of made a deal with myself that if we can't play on the big stages, I'll keep the band off the road, you know, and see what happens in the year to come.
Wow, okay. So you'd much rather do just the bigger shows than the kind of club gigs and smaller ones, right? Wow.
We've done a lot of, and like theaters, they're a lot of fun to play. Especially if you're doing like more of an unplugged thing, that's really kind of a whole different experience. But being in a hard rock band that's got a couple of ballads that they can throw in, like In Dreams or If You Ever Get Lonely, in the middle of all this raging rock with Kerry Kelly on guitar, it's something else, and it's the best of what I could have expected. I'm just very pleasantly surprised. But the band is so good on a big stage. It seems a mistake to go back to playing smaller places just to get on the radio.
Wow, oh, fantastic. I mean, it's a really interesting way of looking at things. I know that a lot of bands say, you know, oh, we prefer the smaller shows because they're this and because they're that. And I think it takes a real leap of faith to say we're just going to play the bigger shows. But yeah. I think it's something that could work very, very well.
Yeah, it could be suicide. I mean, it could mean that we don't play as many gigs as we'd like to. But I owe it to the band. It's like the music is. It's like when you're playing in a club, you're like in third gear, and you can't really. There's some indescribable boundary that you can't cross unless you're playing to like a lot of people, and the energy of all those people, and the energy of the band, and the sort of like simplicity of it. It just comes alive. It goes into top gear when you're playing in front of like 3,000-4,000 people. And we're that good. I mean, we really are that good. And I somebody has to say it, you know, and I guess it's me. But I'm looking to play bigger gigs next year. and that's it. I'm just kind of I've drawn a line in the sand, you know.
Fantastic. I mean, all the best with it. I hope that
Thank you.
it works out very well. I think it's a fantastic move to make.
Yeah.
I mean, the live album has been hugely well received, and it was out a couple of months ago now.
Yeah.
And are you happy with the kind of reception you've had to it so far?
I can't believe it. I mean, I really, honestly, it's a live album, you know, and I made it like I made it, with a 3-piece band with no overdubs, completely live, as it happened, as it went down. And it's not what you would think would be a popular choice. You know, you put a live album out, people go like, thanks a lot, you know, and the hardcore fans buy it. And they come and go pretty fast. It's usually something you put out to keep the fans interested between studio records. But it has had this huge impact. And I probably got the best reviews of my career on a live album. And it's not even got a lot of hits on it, you know. And I purposely didn't put the big hits on the record. I just thought, well, these are the songs that I love the most. The band is playing like there's no tomorrow. Everybody's having a ball. The audience are having a ball. Everybody's just in a great place. And I think we caught it. And I would say that there is a very smooth kind of aspect to rock now, where it's very manicured, and bands, not all of them, but quite a few bands play along to computerized parts that are coming into the show. And it was a knee-jerk reaction against that. It was like, I can't take that. I watch it for like 10 seconds and I have to leave. I just know what they're doing and I just can't stand it. And so I went my own way completely. And it seems to have paid off, certainly as far as the reviews go. Whether it's going to sell or not, who knows? I mean, I've got my fingers crossed. But I'm very, very happy with the record.
Fantastic. I mean, and to be honest, you know, if you're happy with it and if you're feeling in a fantastic place with it, then you know you've done it well.
Yeah. I mean, I would hate to put out a record I didn't like and it'd be a big success. But it's almost impossible to make a record I don't like. I mean, I'm not easy to work with because I kind of know what I want. And it's hard to line up people to work with who feel the same way about that. I mean, it took us a couple of months to work Kerry in, but as soon as Kerry found his feet, the whole thing just blew up. And it was like, I remember looking around on stage and thinking, fucking hell, you know, it's like, wow. And I'm singing differently, and I'm sort of full voice and really confident as a singer and reaching for stuff. And every night's different, which again is part of the charm of being in that kind of band. Songs can go on for an extra 2 minutes if we're having a great time. It's just really loose. And, you know, people are cracking up and telling jokes, and then we kick in again, and away it goes. And it's the best time I can tell you. It's just really the greatest thing.
No, I mean, that is completely what you want. An audience is seeing that will see that that's the kind of show that you do. And, you know, how could anybody not like that?
Yeah, I would like to think I think there's a vast gap in rock for that kind of thing. And I don't know how we get it. I'm just going back to the 70s, really, or like early rock, but in a modern context. You know, we're still playing pretty fresh songs and a lot of songs off Rough and Tumble on this new album. But I think people want to see it. They want to see people play with each other and a band stretch out and maybe go into a blues song right in the middle of something else, throw in a cover, do a Dylan song. But it's all high energy, and we only really do a couple of ballads, and they're on the CD. So there's such a lot of songs to pick. I think I picked the right ones for the live album, but they're the ones that the band played best. So it was, I just got really lucky, you know, it's just being lucky.
And the live set list, how often do you change that? Because you've got so much material to choose from. So do you keep a lot in strict rotation, or do you do mainly the same set, kind of, you know, with a couple of songs different here and there every time you play?
Yeah, well, you know, we throw a couple of baby songs in there just for sort of almost like a humorous kind of like, and there's this too, you know. We do Head First. We do Every Time I Think of You, but that's it. You know, we do 2 songs out
Wow.
of a 90-minute set, and we don't really play any bad English songs, although we did do Best of What I Got at the last gig. And when I See You Smile, I just come out in the encore and sing it just with a mic with the audience. We don't attempt to try and do that big kind of arena rock thing. It's not what we are. But I hope that pleases the people that came to hear it. But the songs that we pick to play live are the ones that we rip apart, you know. And I think if we're enjoying it, the audience are bound to enjoy it. It's infectious, you know. That's what we're there for.
No, I think that's a very, very good way of looking at it. I think so many gigs now are just kind of, it's rock by numbers, you know, and people are just...
it's terrible. And they do
Yeah.
package tours, and they come out, they do the same set every night, they say the same thing to the audience every night, and it's big business. And I don't know, it's like an oxymoron, you know, the music business. But it's become, I think with the economy being so strained, people are going out on these big tours, these dinosaur bands, and they're sort of being dinosaurs. I'd like to think that we can stop in the middle and do an acoustic song just because we can. And the audience go, you could hear a pin drop, you know. So it's like rewriting the rule book or just throwing the rule book away. But I think it's authentic, and that's why it's believable, and that's why people have reacted so strongly to it. If I could say that without blushing, you know.
No, it's brilliant. And the next few months, what are you planning with it? I mean, I know you've got some gigs coming up, but are you looking to put in place like a full tour at some point soon?
Yeah, well, the last gig we did was like in front of 4,000 people headlining about 3 weeks ago, and the band was so good. It reminded, just like I said on the last album, Rough and Tumble, we toured the small clubs, theaters, so we could play everywhere in America and get to radio and get Rough and Tumble played. And we had a #1 single in America on classic rock radio with Rough and Tumble. Shocked me beyond belief. I couldn't believe that a song that was that rock got to #1. But it did. But it was so hard to do, and financially it was insane. I grossed like a huge amount of money last year, and I managed to keep like $40,000 before tax. I mean, it costs that much to go out on the road and stay there.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so it's kind of, you can't do that 2 years running, you just go bankrupt. But I think we're paid enough dues here to be on a bigger stage, and we have the following. Well, I would like to do another live album. And
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I'd like to just do one like every 10 months. And maybe put some original songs on it, or just do a live album and then go in the studio. Obviously, it's all contingent on how we're received with the live album, this new one, All Access. But like I said, we're getting the best reviews, or I'm getting the best reviews I've ever had in my career. So it's such a weird thing to get those kind of reviews on the back of a live album. But like I said before, I think people are missing that thing where you see a band play and they're actually playing live, and there's no technology involved with a live performance. It's just people playing and playing into each other, and the fact that you can extend the song 3 or 4 minutes and go off into something else. It's as interesting for the audience as it is for us. You know, I think that it's one and the same, you know. But I think there's a huge gap in rock for that kind of playing, and it's always been the thing I loved the most. And I don't know, maybe just taking complete control of things. You know, I feel completely free to do what I want to do. So we'll see how we go. I don't want the band to go back to playing smaller places. We've done that, and it almost, you know, broke the bank. Trying to keep the band out on the road for a year, but we did have a #1 single at Classic Rock, and it did work. Rough and Tumble was very successful, but financially to do that is like really difficult. So I'd rather play bigger places when we can, and use huge PAs. It just sounds like it could be something even bigger than it is now.
Wonderful, and that's absolutely fantastic to hear, and it's brilliant to hear that it's, you know, that the live album has sparked such a success. It really, really is.
Isn't it weird, though? I mean, I never expected this. I mean, I just had to put it out. Like, you know, I'm very proud of it, and it took a long time to mix and, you know, to get the right performances. But I never expected the kind of response I've got from the press. You know, it's funny how you can sort of, like, drop off the radar. But I think people, I don't know, it's just the right thing at the right time. I think people want to see a band play live and hear a band play live really going for it, not just playing the hits and having that big business thing attached to it. I think they want the real thing, you know. Everybody wants the real thing in their life, not with just music.
Yeah, very true. Very true, and it's great to see that there are still some people out there that are still doing it. I mean, band-wise, you sound as though you're just really happy with who you've got playing with you now. That's just not going to change at any point soon, is it?
No. I think since we got Kerry, it took him a couple of months. We threw him in the deep end. We gave him a list of 15 songs and said, we'll see you in Detroit. We had a gig down by the river in Detroit headlining, about 3,000 people, open air. And we just gave him a list of 15 songs. We rehearsed in the dressing room, went over the chord changes, and then just went out and played. And it was pretty good, you know. Obviously, there was like a couple of missed turns and miscues. But after 2 months, he just completely got it. And his playing just amazed me. It was just completely fluent and yet accurate. You know, it was like really inspired. And the rhythm section became harder and tougher and more locked, and I became a better singer. So I would like to keep the band together as long as possible. You never know what's going to happen in the future. Just nobody knows. But I'd like another live album, and I'd like to get the band on a bigger stage next year.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for having a chat today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I really hope...
Thank you. And God bless you for being from Manchester. I mean, I'm from Lancaster, so it's kind of like, you know, it's great.
But no, I do. Well, I hope that we see you playing here at some point very soon. I really do.
Oh, well, God bless you, and thanks for your time. I really appreciate you making the effort to make it work. I'm sorry about last week. I have no idea what went wrong, but hey.
I think technology went wrong last week.
There you go. As usual, as it does, you know. But thanks for calling, and I hope it comes out well.
Well, thank you so much, and I will really look forward to seeing you soon.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye-bye.